Hi, everybody. So I'm here with Kelley today, and we're going to talk about the new moon or the full moon, excuse me, that is called the flower moon. And we're also going to talk about I can't remember something of the planets because the energies are really big right now. So I'm just going to share my screen really quickly so I can remember the name of what I'm talking about.
The
So
parade,
the
the parade.
parade. The parade of planets is happening, and it's we won't see all of them, Kelley said, because unless you have a telescope. But somebody also asked me about this. So the energies are really, really big right now. So anything that you see astrologically that a lot of people pay attention to is going to push energy. So when you ask a question like, is this going to cause something to happen? Is this event in the sky? The answer is almost always yes, because we're all paying attention to it and we all have these thoughts about it. So, really, almost everything that people pay attention to causes some kind of a wave of energy. Now, exactly what that is, when you predict it, it takes it away. So, like if you were to say, the parade of planets will bring, a tsunami, or will bring, somebody may say a tsunami, and then another person maybe says, will bring an angel sighting for, the United States or for Canada. You know, if you say that, usually that is not going to happen because then you get too many thoughts about how it's going to happen. And everybody kind of overwhelms the idea and then it doesn't occur. So just kind of think about that when you're thinking about what's going to happen when this happens, when this shows up in the sky, or when this person, goes on TV or whatever. Like those events make waves, and the waves that are being made are the thought forms that are thought about the event that's happening. Um, we have gone through a lot of energetic stuff over the last week, like a ton. And part of it was relationships. So relationships are going to be different in the fifth density, and they're going to be more free. Like maybe your divine partner, you didn't see them for a month. Maybe they went off on a big project, but you would also know what they were doing. You wouldn't be checking in with them all the time, thinking about what they're doing, worrying that they're attracted to someone else. Like those kind of 3D relationships are going away. We're going to actually know and
Mm.
support whatever our partner is doing because we will be two halves of one whole. So your divine partner is part of you. And it's going to be a really beautiful experience and much more free than it used to be. But that free doesn't mean free love. Okay. Like it doesn't mean the hippie version of, oh, it's all free. It's not the same thing. It's a more evolved version of that. And it doesn't mean you're running around experimenting. It means you're doing things that feed that part of your soul. So that's happening. And I think that some of the sight is going to clear because that's happening. So people will see through their third eye a little bit better now. And that's in the process of kind of going through the clearing process. So all these big energies are like waves, and we're working through them. And you remember the souls are healing, which is helping humanity rise because you have a guide. You have your soul guide within you. So that's kind of it. But I'm interested to hear what this flower moon energy is going to bring. So,
Yes.
hi,
Well,
Kelley.
awesome. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the blossoms. A full moon is the blossoming of the new moon. So
Mhm.
this is the fruition, this is the revelation, this is the bud opens and the flower reveals, its message. And it's also then a time when the moon starts waning and we start implementing or incorporating this revelation, this blossoming into our lives in a more practical, integrated way. So
Mm.
that's the waning cycle of the moon, and the next new moon is absolutely gorgeous and even more flowery, if you ask me. But
Oh,
let's
fun.
look at what's going on with this one. So here's the chart, and um, y'all see it all right? Put a flower
Oh
in the
yeah,
middle.
looks great.
So, talking about that parade of planets. So, in the last number, like for months now, we've been seeing a parade of planets. So, it's a little interesting to me that they're mentioning it now, that they're
Mhm.
bringing our attention to it now, because look at this is that parade of planets. And so we had a lot of planets over here at the beginning of the year, and then they moved over to here, and then they moved over to here. And we have a whole lot in Taurus still, but at this new moon, it's shifting again. And so this is now, we're in the sun sign Gemini, which we haven't seen anything in Gemini for a while. So this is a Gemini, and Gemini it's like the dandelion fluff, like, lifting into the air and spreading all over. And Taurus is the root of the dandelion and really deep into the earth. I've been having to take dandelions out of my garden because they were like the biggest thing last year. And I want to plant other things this year, but I've been harvesting the roots. So there we are. And the full moon is over here in Sagittarius. So Gemini and Sagittarius, if we're looking at the complementarity of those two signs. Gemini is, variety is the spice of life, all kinds of, keep your options open, keep your ear open, all kinds of different news and different information and different points of view, all the pieces to the puzzle, all of the pollen that the bees are gathering from the flowers. And then Sagittarius is the bigger picture. It's the intuitive capacity to see how all of these pieces of the puzzle fit in, and some of them won't. Some of them, that's not my puzzle. I don't want that in my puzzle. So we're getting to kind of envision. Sagittarius is a visionary sign, and it's the intuitive kind of sense of direction. It's like our compass, like where are we heading? So it is, as a visionary sign, it's very important at this new moon to keep our vision clear with all of the dandelion fluff, kind of in the air, and, stay true to our vision and listen to our intuition and don't talk yourself out of what you really know. So that's part of the full moon here. But Sagittarius is inspiring, and these are both movable signs. Gemini likes to get in the car and drive around the neighborhood and just spontaneously go somewhere on the road. And Sagittarius likes the long distance. We're going to drive across the country. We're going to fly on the other side of the world. It's a long distance traveler, where Gemini likes to just kind of go around the neighborhood and see what's happening and listen to the latest gossip or news. And so there's a lot going on here, a lot more movement than we've had quite a bit of this year already. So one of the most special things about this moon, so here's the sun. So that parade of planets is visible, it is said, before the sun rises. So these are the planets in that parade. And there's Venus, and which is, the morning star when it's visible, but it's too close to the sun. It's not going to be visible. And Jupiter, the biggest planet, they are together, and they're the two brightest diamonds in the sky, but they're too close to the sun, so we won't see them. But this is a beautiful combination. This is like the grand finale of all these planets we've been having in Taurus, which is very grounded, kind of also referring to the larger picture in relation to the financial issues going on and the whole change of the financial system that we're experiencing, which is definitely ramping up. So Taurus is a money sign. Venus is a money planet. She's right in her strength here, and Jupiter is amplifying. This is great. This is going to be good for everybody. So this is really a glorious, wonderful, combination that brings, if we're going to like put words to it, Venus is the goddess of love and Jupiter is the god of wisdom. So this is expanding the love energy, just like you said, honey. It's changing the context of how we're experiencing relationships and expanding our heart energy to bring us a higher love. And we have Uranus right by, which is also about that. This is the higher mind. Again, this is all about higher love, higher mind wisdom. This is part of that experience we're having of rising to a different dimension of embodiment. Taurus is a lot about the body, about our physicality, about our rootedness, our groundedness. And so this is changing our experience in an extraordinary way that we're waking up to and, kind of building in. So this is a beautiful, amazing combination. That Jupiter Venus is one of the favorite things. If we could see it, we can imagine it, because these are like the two brightest planets, and they're right together. So it's just beautiful, like a flower. So that is a beautiful epitome point. And immediately Venus is going into Gemini. And then a couple of days later, Jupiter is going into Gemini. So there's going to be more Gemini energy. And here's Mercury. It's in Taurus still. It's going to keep us a bit grounded and keep our minds like a bit to practical level. But in less, I don't know, about a week, I'm going to give it about a week. Mercury's going to go into Gemini also. So this is a lot of Gemini, a lot of moving around, a lot of restlessness, for movement, a lot more socializing, a lot more, meeting people, a lot of news coming out. So, and then there we are again. There's the full moon in Sagittarius. What is true? What do you believe? What's really happening here? And I love what you said, honey, about, if we're predicting something, that's not what's going to happen. It could be, everything could happen, but,
Yeah.
different people can have different experiences. But this is definitely, lighting up a lot of perspectives that we have to almost like choose from. What do you want in your picture? What do you want on your collage? What images, what visions are resonating for you? And there it is. You can build it into your life. So we're still making some choices. So that is quite a little cluster of things going on there in the sign of Taurus. Now, Mercury, we probably will be able to see, though it's the smallest planet, and it's still a little in the haze of the sunlight. But if you really have good vision, you'll probably be able to see it pretty close to the horizon before dawn. And then we have Chiron, which is not visible. Mars is visible. Mars is in Aries. This is the heroic. This is the courageous. This is like, I'm experiencing, I'm ready for something new and different. So Mars is the action planet. So this is getting time for action. Just go for it, do it. When we have the combination of several things in the sign of Aries, it's like a go for it planet. And Gemini, I'm open to anything. Those two combinations are like basically saying, I'll try anything once, and you might as well. What are you going to lose? We've got to start moving forward. So let's give that a try. If it's not the right path, we'll figure it out soon enough. So this is initiative. So time to take initiatives. We cannot sit back. all the planets are moving out of Taurus, which likes its comfort level and likes to sit back. But this is, get moving. The energy is
Mhm.
moving. So, Mars is number one with Chiron, the wounded healer or the shamanic energy that can feel like something's got to give. It can't stay like this. What? It's like we're on the threshold of a bridge and it's time to start taking steps across that bridge. And in just a few days after this full moon, Mars is going to be on Chiron. This is definitely the kind of there's so many things we could call it because Chiron has like a bit of a wound to it.
Mhm.
And so it could be the wounded warrior. And many of us have wounded warriors inside us that are hesitant. We don't want to blow it. We don't want to make mistakes. We don't want to, but feeling if you're in your center and you're in your integrity and you're really clear with where you're at, this is the calling here. This is with the dragon head here. This is the leading edge of collective consciousness right now. Be clear with yourself. And
Mhm.
so this little cluster here is like be really clear and then step forward when it feels right to you, when that path opens. There's an old Shaker saying, I don't know if I've shared this before, proceed as way opens.
Yes.
So
Oh, I love that.
portal, yes, isn't that
Mhm.
wonderful? Yeah, because there's a sense of timing too, and there's a very subtle sense of timing with the black moon in Virgo. It's listening to the rhythm of nature and knowing just when it's the right time. People in the 60s have a good bead on that because they have a couple of planets in Virgo and they don't have everybody else's timing. They don't go by clock time, but they tend to go by nature's timing. And I know a
Mhm.
lot of people in that 60s generation, and it's like they're always late. But who's saying they're late? They're on time in their own rhythm. And
Yep.
so there's certain adjustments we have to make to nature, even. And listening to our bodies is very, very important with the sign of Virgo, developing a deep soul connected, tuning in to our subtle senses. Like you said, our pineal gland is opening up. We're going to be seeing more. These are our
Mhm.
subtle senses also that are waking up. And this can be clair touch. This is like our senses are refining, and then new subtle ones are coming up.
Yeah. So cool.
So here we have this whole roster in Aries. Now I want to introduce two. Well, let me just say a few words about the planets in Pisces. Neptune is too far away to be visible. So if that's in the parade of planets, that's not going to be visible either. But Saturn will be. Saturn is the last planet that's really pretty easy to see. It, if you can see this kind of almost golden light with Saturn and it's not twinkling. Stars twinkle because they're so far away. I mean, this is
Mhm.
what I've learned. Um, and planets are closer, so they just radiate light. So they're not twinkling. So if you see a golden thing that's just sort of there, that could be Saturn. Um, so we can see what can you see? Maybe Mercury, Mars, and Saturn. So you won't see much of that parade, but it's there and it's good to know about it. And that parade is continuing slowly through the signs. So, and Saturn's about manifesting. So it's about manifesting the spirituality, the subtle senses again in the sign of Pisces, and just finding a surfboard to surf on, or a something in yourself that has a reliability. And this could be a spiritual practice, this could be meditating, this could be really keeping in touch with your higher intuition and letting that guide you along with your subtle senses, between these two things here.
Mhm.
So, yeah, and Neptune is at the very end of Pisces, and it's going to go into Aries almost in July, but it's just going to stop and say, okay, you guys aren't ready yet. But hey, there's some kind of spark that's going to light up with that energy, which Neptune steps into Aries at the end of March next year. I think that would be an opportunity for a major solar flash, but I'm not sure, but it's definitely, this is the beginning of the zodiac in Western astrology, and it has a kind of energy of newness and freshness, and
Mm-hmm.
Neptune's going to light something really new up.
Yeah, we're probably going to go into quite a different kind of feeling in society next year. So, and that, I mean, March is really more when the year actually begins too.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
astrologically it is for sure in Western
Hmm.
astrology. Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, so that's amazing. I mean, there really is a parade. And so I want to introduce two things. Some people may have heard of Sedna.
Hmm.
Sedna is the goddess of the Arctic Sea. Sedna is, these are two Inuit artists. It's from that culture. And it is the goddess of the Arctic Sea. Her mythology is fairly tragic and very different. That when she sank to the bottom of the sea, her appendages became sea animals. And
Mm,
this artist shows her as well, both of these do as sea creature herself.
yeah.
And Sedna was discovered in 2005. And her orbit is like 12 to 14,000 years around the sun, so they say. So her energy has to do with, she's the goddess of the Arctic Sea and has to do with the embodying the sea creatures. And, up there, food is mostly, largely from the sea. So periodically the shaman would have to travel in his shamanic body down to Sedna with an ivory comb where he would comb the seaweed out of her tangled hair. And she would be very grateful and allow the people to have her sea creatures for food. So it's just a beautiful story in that way, but
Mm,
there's tragedy to it, in many of the versions, and there are different versions in different cultures. There's Skeleton Woman as well, Clarissa Pinkola Estes tells a really good version of that in her famous Women Who Run with the Wolves, or the Selkie, the woman
oh, yeah.
became a seal, and took her seal skin off and had to mend it. So there's these recreative, regenerative redemption stories that Sedna has a lot to do with. Here's a little more information about her. Um, so she, of course, is sorrowing for her sea creatures,
Mhm.
and the devastation that we're creating. So um, she can create sea storms, I should imagine. And
Oh, yeah.
here we see very slow moving, and she has just moved into Gemini in this last year or so. So on this full moon, she's conjuncting the sun. So she has a strong energy flavor that is bringing us into the far reaches of our solar system and of our consciousness. And
Mhm.
so there's something, and then, Venus is right there. Jupiter's going to go across that. Uranus in I think 2026. There's something profound arising from the deep sea. And there are a lot of discoveries going on down there,
Yes.
right?
There's a lot of extinct creatures, supposedly extinct, that are coming back on land and sea right now. And we're really kind of moving through the timelines. And that's part of the awakening. And then also enormous ocean that was discovered recently underneath the ocean. Yeah. And I'm
Under
gonna,
the ocean.
yeah, so
Uh,
an ocean under the ocean, and they say it's bigger than all the oceans put together. So it's, we're having a lot of things change, and the world isn't going to seem the same pretty soon. So that's fun. That's a lot
yeah.
of fun.
I've been getting salt from a company called the Dickinson's, and
Hmm.
their family for generations has been tapping down beneath the ocean to a salt bed that's from an ancient sea that was bigger than the Atlantic. And you can
Yeah.
buy salt. So
Hmm.
I think it's in West Virginia. So
Wow.
yeah, there's like a lot going on underground, right? Um,
Hmm.
so that's one of them. And this other one is really new to me, and I think it might have been discovered this year. And it is named for a Hawaiian, well, let me say a few things about it first. Leleaku Honua is how I think it's pronounced. And the
Right.
Hawaiian language is very layered. If you,
Hmm.
emphasize one syllable or another, it can change the meaning or give another nuance. Um, but it's connected to the meaning is, and I think it's the Hawaiian astronomers who discovered it. And they say its orbit is 30,000 years. So Sedna is, half that. And this one, a longer cycle. These are very long cycles. And one
Hmm.
of the interesting things is they have very elliptical orbits. So sometimes they are way far out. And this is true for Pluto as well. It can be way far out. And then it comes closer and closer to what is called perihelion, closest to the sun as it gets. And these two bodies at a different, length of orbits, supposedly are both coming to perihelion in like something like 2037. I'm not sure. I'm
Hmm.
might not be getting that year correct. It might be another decade, but at the same time, which is very
Oh, wow.
interesting.
Wow.
So we have Edna from the Arctic Sea, and then we have Leleaku Honua, who is the connected with a bird, the golden plover, that nests in Alaska, and then the female lays, she chooses her guy, and then she lays 4 eggs, and then the parents fly to Hawaii. And
Oh,
it takes them 3 days nonstop. They get to Hawaii, nonstop flight. And the babies, the eggs hatch. And then a little bit after they hatch, they fly off to Hawaii for that 3-day journey.
really? Wow.
And they
That's an
fly back.
intense childhood.
Yeah. And the name of this new energy is it's not named for the bird, it's named for the essence of the flight.
Mm,
So
yeah.
it's like you could say it's very abstract, it's very fifth or sixth or seventh dimensional, but it's
Hmm.
about the essence of the flight. And the name, if depending on how you translate it, can mean something about the flight or the arrival or the taking off or something like that. There some astrologers are on it. Martha Hines is one who's really started putting out information about this and inviting people to please participate in exploring this new archetypal energy that seems very ineffable and magical and return of the bird tribes type of thing. So I wanted to mention it because it's just coming into view. And it's been this past week conjunct the dragon head. Now we
Okay.
can start thinking dragons here, right? The flight of dragons. And not to mention potential sea dragons from so deep beneath the
Mm-hmm.
sea.
Yeah.
So that this energy is calling forth the new explorations like the Starship Enterprise to go where no one has gone before. This is Aries. This
Yeah.
is, we've not been here before. So how do we explore this? How do we even think about it? And we can't think about it, right? That's where the mind gets all confused. That's where the mind can argue with itself. We need to rise into the higher mind, which this full moon gives us an opportunity to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Sagittarius has that intuitive capacity. You're right. You listen to your intuition, and that's it. The Gemini conveys that. It translates that and communicates it. So this is a beautiful full moon for tapping into new dimensions and trying to find ways to communicate this new territory that we're entering.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Mm. Let's
So
just
go ahead.
Let me just make a couple of last comments about Pluto. Yes, Pluto
Okay.
has got as far into Aquarius as it's going to go for now, and it's going retrograde, and it's going to go back into Capricorn for September, October, and part of November to finish the cleanup, to bring all the systems down so we can rebuild and start fresh. And so, but on this full moon, it's in a beautiful, perfect, positive alignment. If you can see this turquoise line, Pluto is at 2 degrees Aquarius. The sun is at 2 degrees Gemini. And so basically a Sedna. So Pluto is cooperating, with that energy. We're picking up on more of how good can it get in Aquarius? What is our vision? How can we open it up to a more beautiful, satisfying place with that combination of Venus and Jupiter, which is the good things in life. It wants to
Mhm.
experience that literally. So, and all these new discoveries and explorations and things coming into view and disclosure on so many levels is definitely ramping up with as we move along toward the end of May and into June with all this Gemini energy and all these dandelion fluffs flying around there.
It's fabulous. Yeah. What's really funny is you were talking about the dandelions, and I'll try and let's click this. So here in this
Oh,
house is a
no.
dandelion, and they're everywhere in this house that we rented, our Airbnb. And then also I had a dream about the bridge the other night.
Uh-huh.
And the bridge is the bridge to ascension. And we're right at the beginning of the bridge. So humanity is going to start to cross the bridge right now. And
Mm.
it's going to get better and better for humanity. So I think that it's just kind of amazing that you were mentioning those things. And serendipity is like everywhere. So really look
Yeah.
for it. Really take your time through your day and see all those magical things that are coming in, all that beautiful information, because we're there. Like we're about to step onto the bridge. And this is obviously, this energy is going to be helping with that.
Yeah.
So enjoy it. Like
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah, don't
yeah,
argue with yourself about it.
yeah.
Just kind of, if you're feeling the synchronicities and serendipities and you're just in that flow, you're just going to do what you do. And
Hmm.
you're going to step onto the bridge and not even hardly know you've done that. And then it's like, oh, I'm on the bridge. And with Gemini, there are a lot of options. There's a lot of ways to go about it. There's, a lot of moves to make in this big chessboard kind of thing.
Yes.
Um, it's like the game, and it's responsive to your experience in the moment. And that's the key to working with Chiron. So Mars is right there, moving right toward Chiron. That is be here now, aligned spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And when you're in that alignment, there's no question. And if
Mhm.
there are questions, just, kind of observe the questions and say, you be quiet. I'm feeling it, kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a beautiful time. And there really
Yeah.
isn't any obstruction except for what's in our own mind at this point. So, enjoy the moments, you guys. Yeah, for
I
sure.
know. It's like, can we
Yep.
even believe it? It's like, yes, believe it. You
Yep.
know,
It's
it is.
amazing.
It's
And things are falling into place. So let them fall into place and keep
let them
going about
fall.
the joy.
Some of
Yeah.
them are falling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
but it's okay.
Exactly. This is
Yeah.
beautiful, Kelley. So fun.
It is a beautiful
Yeah.
full moon. Yeah.
Yep.
We've got some, this is really changing the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Things are moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are opening up.
They're opening up.
Yeah.
It's going to be an amazing summer. And I mean, I'm really excited to see what unfolds this summer. So we'll see what we get, but it feels so good. And just know
Mhm.
that we're in it now. We're truly in it. So things are coming and they're unfolding in the way that they need to be. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and if you drop a little bit and a little fear thing comes up, just deal with it. Just let it go by. Just address
Mhm.
it. But you don't need to buy into it and stir it up. Just let it go
Yeah,
by. We don't want to go. Mm,
exactly. I love that.
yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
Smell the roses.
Yes, there's one. Thank you, Kelley. I
Oh,
love this.
oh,
I really appreciate this show. I feel like it brought a lot of stuff together. And I don't know what we're doing next. I'm sure there's another thing happening and we'll be on again, but just really enjoy this one and we'll be on for the next one, whatever it is. And Kelley knows probably what it is coming next, but um just enjoy the moment and kind of wallow in the good energy,
mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
know? Yeah, bathe in it.
And whatever these new archetypes are, whatever they are or represent, they're coming up into our consciousness to open up doorways of new perception. So,
Hmm.
you know, and I love this new one. And
Oh, it's
just to
great.
say, the next new moon on June 6th is exactly aligned with Venus. It's
Oh,
very right on 16 degrees, sun, moon, Venus. It's beautiful.
I love that. Yes. So we'll be talking about that next, probably. Love it. Thank you, Kelley. It looks like Kelley might be frozen.
Keep reading.
Oh, there she goes. Okay. Thank you so much, Kelley. Oh, my internet went in unstable. So,
Oh,
yeah.
well,
Okay.
say goodbye before it goes off.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Bye. And Kelley's information will be below just to get that in there. Bye.